Alright guys, so this video is going to be about putting the tie rods back in, changing the bushing in that steering knuckle and or the center steering knuckle. I don't know what you call that part. It looks like a Y. It's attached to the steering rack, but that's the plan for today, and hopefully put that together and then put all of the torque all of the bolts down, everything that I've installed back, and the spindle nuts and the strut nuts, everything, and hopefully get this thing road going again. Alright, so the part we want to get to is basically bolted onto the chassis here, or the front cross member. So so it's basically like underneath the shroud, so we're gonna have to remove it. Looks like there's a bunch of I'm guessing 10mm bolts that kind of hold it in place. Looks like it's 4 of them. So we're gonna get that removed, and so we could see what's going on under there. Okay, so the little shroud has been removed. This is actually, I thought this was sheet metal. It's actually just a plastic piece. And now when you take a look, these are the steering arms, and there's 2 ball joints for the steering arms here, and it pivots on this axis here, and then that's the arm. Let me get a better look here. This arm here comes from the steering rack. The steering rack is actually hidden under this skid plate, but let me see if I can get under there with a different camera. Alright, so this is a little bit better view. So there is the steering rack. You can see the bellows. Then it's got a arm that pivots on the that little Y piece, and basically it's got 4 bolts going through it. The main one is this one, which is the pivot point, and then you got 2, one for each steering arm, and then 1 for the steering rack. So basically you have to remove all 4 and get it off the car. Alright, I got the steering arms removed. I marked them left and right. I also tried to mark where the jam nut was, just so I forgot to do it on the left by the time I realized. I'm sorry, on the right by the time I thought about it. It was too late for this one, but I'm gonna get the steering aligned anyway after this is done. I had to use this guy to remove these from the ball joints. The ball joints themselves look like they're in decent shape. The boots are not torn. Once I remove the part, I could make sure they're not like clicking or whatever. But basically, this is all freed up. I removed it from the steering rack. So the only thing left is to remove this nut here, which is crimped. You can see, I'll show you there. So I need to hammer this out with a screwdriver, and then get my bar on there to try to get it out. Alright, finally got this piece out. So I'll have to inspect it closer, but doesn't seem like the bushing is too bad, but since I have the part, might as well replace it. And first of all, I think I'm going to clean this up. There's a lot of like mud on here caked on, and the part's got some rust on it, so I'm going to treat that before I do anything else. But then the next step is, before I press this out, I want to make sure that the part I got kind of looks like it's going to work before I damage this one, then realize I don't have anything that could work on there. Alright, so here is the new bushing. You could see it's kind of got like a, I guess this is a copper sleeve. It comes oiled and wrapped in this wax paper. But in any way, it looks like it gets pressed in from, so this part would sit in the car like this. So it gets pressed in from the bottom, because I see the little collar here on the edge, the metal collar. And I guess then once you tighten this against the car, the cross member, this flattens out, because this one's completely flattened out. But again, I'm gonna clean this up, and then I'm gonna see if I can rent a tool to press this bearing out and take it from there. Alright, so I cleaned up this piece and I gave it a touch of chassis paint. The ball joints still look like they're in good condition. I see some cracking starting in the rubber, but these should still last a little bit longer. So I do know that you could buy this whole piece with all the bushings and stuff, but this is a pretty expensive piece. So right now we're gonna press out this bushing. It doesn't look that bad. It looks like it was replaced not that long ago, but since I have this out of the car, I might as well just do it. And I rented this little kit from Advanced Auto Parts, so that's what I'm going to be using to press that out. Alright, so this is what I rigged up. I basically put the cup, I had to put the C-clamp on this vise because I couldn't hold it. I don't have any steel plates, so I used the old lawnmower blade. I put a 21 millimeter socket to try to push the bearing out, because when I pushed the bearing out, only the inside of it came out and the copper sleeve is still in there. So then I just tightened it on here, and it just popped off camera, but I'm hoping that means that it's loose. I could push it out now. Looks like the little collar I had on there is jammed in there, so I'm gonna have to pry it out. Alright, so I was able to get it out, and what did it for me was this socket I had. It's just a perfect, because I needed something that could grab on this thin edge, but still, and not fall in, and you could see it's marred, because the socket I was using just was a little bit smaller. So it's kind of like, at the same time I was pushing the sleeve out, it was also making it wider because it was crushing it. This thing was like dead perfect. I mean, it's almost like it was made it almost, like, that's how perfect it is, that it doesn't fall out of this side, it only falls out of this side. But basically, that's just pure coincidence, obviously. But now that I know, now that I got it out, I could to go to the next step. I'm just gonna put a little bit of grease in here, and to help insert the new bushing and press that on there. Oh, also, this does have a way it's got to go. So the collar on the bushing has to go, I guess, faces the same side as the ball joints. So basically it's upside down in the car when it's mounted on the car. Alright, so this thing is really kicking my ass. I can't use this clamp for the life of me to install this bearing or bushing, but I have an idea. So I took one of the, this is my spring compressor, and I've seen tricks on YouTube where they use a screw to drive that through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this over so I have a flat surface. I'm going to push that through the steering arm. I am going to load the bearing between that. This is the cup that came with the press kit. I'm going to slide on there, and then I'm going to flip this over as well so I have a flat surface to press against. And I'm hoping that I could drive the bearing through with using my my driver here. So just screw this on. I'm just really worried that I'm gonna damage the bearing, and then I'm gonna be stuck. And these bearings are not, bushing, I mean, and these bushings are not cheap. Alright, so let's give it a whirl here. I think I'm going to put this on a low setting first just to see if it works. Wrong socket on there. Alright, have to get my 19mm socket for this. Alright, let's try to line this up a little bit better. Spray a little lubricant. Here it goes. Have to put something to space this out now. Not exactly sure what. Maybe I could use one of these little collars here. I have to remove the sole assembly to do that. But it's working.
This is a Reinstallation production.
Well, actually, I didn't have to do that. Let's try that again. Okay, it looks like the rubber insert slid out a little bit, but I could push that in. I'm not too worried about that. So, guess not having the right tools is a pain in the ass, but I was able to get it done, but struggling. Alright, so got that in, pressed it in. I just did the same thing, but this time I just had the flat part of the spring compressor pushing against the rubber part of the bushing. So now I'm gonna get this back on the car and get the new tie rods in. Alright, so time to get this under the car. I'm putting some synthetic grease on this bolt that kind of holds, it's the pivot point for this component. And then I'm going to put some thread locker on the actual nut, but a medium strength thread locker. So trying to get this back in the car. Alright, so now we're gonna torque the steering arm. I call it a steering arm because I don't know what else to call it, but that basic rocker arm, I guess. We're gonna bolt that down to 80 pound-feet. We're gonna bolt all the ball joints on the steering connections to the steering rack to 36 pound-feet. And then after we're gonna do that, we're gonna do the brake calipers. I'm gonna torque that to 80 pound-feet as well. I'm using medium strength thread locker on all of these, and I'm gonna put the cotter pins in the castle nuts, and then I can put the spindle nut on. Alright, so this got torqued to 130 pound-feet, and I tapped in the nut onto that key over there. I used the old trick of the uh, um, grips on the rotor, and that will bind against the caliper. So you got to install the caliper first before you tighten this on. So let's go to the other side, finish off that side as well, and then we can move on to the tie rods for the steering arm. So just wanted to share the this is the part for the tie rods. This is the Honda part. It's a 53540-SJ6 R01. So I tried doing a Google search to see if I could find this, meaning that some other Honda product shares this component. I couldn't find it. It looks like this is a special order from Japan, no matter what you try to do. But if any of you out there think that they could retrofit or cross-reference that part number, and maybe there's something out there that we could use without having to pay for these very expensive ball joints or having to wait around for them. Alright guys, so got the wheels back on, so pretty much it's drivable now. I just have to get the steering aligned. I could see a little bit on the right side that there's a little bit too much toe out on the right side, but again, I'm gonna get it professionally adjusted, the steering adjusted. It looks like it does ride higher because the springs don't collapse as much as before. So I don't know, I know there's a lot of problems out there with people lifting their mini trucks and then messing up their axles. So I have to keep an eye on it. If I find binding, I haven't driven it yet, so I think the next few days this following week is really when I'm gonna be driving it and seeing if there's any issues that come up with that. I'm also one thing to keep in mind with this thing was that if you're gonna plan on doing this, don't do what I did. I started doing it and then I ordered the parts I needed. I would suggest you order the parts ahead of time, and then when you have the parts, you do the job, because it literally took me a month to get the tie rods. I tried to see if I could refurbish these. There are instances where you could buy just a dust cover and you know, repack it with grease and put the crimps on it, but there's no dust cover that's designed for this diameter here, or at least I couldn't find one. They're not really reserviceable, but you know, I just wanted to try it to see if it was possible. But and also when you order these, they don't come with the jam nut or the castle nut, so you gotta make sure you save those from your factory pieces and don't discard them. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it helps some of you out there that are looking to do this upgrade. Like I said, I can't give you feedback on how it rides, but I will in the next video. And hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching.
Ryan Little.